Braxton Miller's loose spin move. Miller
in the end zone. Oh, what a catch!
And he's got an opening. Elliott off to the races. Can they catch him?
It's Ohio State together at the mountaintop. Champions of college football.
The Ohio State of Mind podcast, hosted by Josh Keelan and Chris Rickman.
Your number one stop for all Buckeye football news.
And welcome to the Ohio State of Mind podcast. As always, I'm Chris. Just to my, you're already laughing. What is with you? I'm on the other side of the country. It's 5 a.m. for me. I don't have the bedtime sillies. But as always, my co-host Josh Keatley. Josh, how are you? How's the week been? I know we had somewhat of a blunder on last week's episode. Oh, yeah. We've launched that. We've erased it. We've tossed it into the ether. But we've got a good one today. We've got a very interesting guest, a very popular guest amongst Ohio State fans and collectors alike coming up here very, very shortly. But of course, don't let me get ahead of myself. How are you?
Dude, I'm doing great, man. I'm doing so much better now that you've joined me. So we canceled the show last Thursday. And then the Thursday before that, I was on an island at home, bro. No one jumped on. No one joined me. That's A-okay. I rambled on about Trey Henderson's penis. That's okay. That's okay.
Really?
Which I didn't know wasn't like a huge piece of news. There were a lot of people who knew about him sending his penis photo to ladies, but not a large enough group of people were aware of this news for me to have a 30-minute podcast on it. So that's on me. We erased it. It wasn't just. Let's be honest, Chris. You listened to it. The penis jargon was the best part of the podcast.
Well, I mean, even here on recap, the fact that we talked about how much of a large piece this is and no double entendres were intended, I applaud you. You're growing.
Yes.
We do have a very special guest, though. You want to go ahead and give some of our viewers a little insight who we're bringing on?
Yeah, man. Sheridan's going to be joining us from ONIT Athlete. I'm literally texting him right now, guys. Okay, so if something goes wrong here, it is purely technology, brother. Okay, it has nothing to do with me. Looks like the link wasn't attached. Okay, so I guess that was on me.
I guess it was technology and you. Okay.
This before the show, Chris is making fun of me too because he's like, I left that blank place open. I was like, oh, because Chris, in honor of Chris. And he's like, bitch, you just didn't even know how to do it. You didn't even know how to do it, which was like half true. I don't think it's true, but then stuff like this happens, and it's like, damn.
And then we're waiting on a guest, and you forgot to send him a link. You're having a party at your house, and you forgot to send out the address.
Dude, wow, bro, it's been not great. We're doing all right. We're moving this forward though. We're gonna be okay. Eventually, I'm gonna be able to get 8 hours of sleep without a child screaming every 2 hours.
Love it.
Life's gonna get back to normal. It's gonna get back to normal. So that's where it. But Sheridan, he's the co-founder of ONIT Athlete. They produce trading cards. They're a trading card company. They've been in business for a couple of years now. They kind of jumped on the NIL train and have released team sets. What makes them more unique than a giant company like Panini or Topps is that they do the whole team set. So you can get a pack or box of Ohio State cards on their site, onitathlete.com. And you're only going to get Ohio State guys, right? You're going to get the walk-ons, the starters, the backups, a guy that may not start for 2-3 years. You can hang on to that card. It's really awesome. If you're like me, you only collect Ohio State guys. You collect Ohio State guys exclusively. So this is really cool. Every pack is just really fun to crack open and see who you get. It's really cool talking to these players too. A lot of these players really love seeing their face and their name on these cards. You and I have talked to Julian Jones-Jackson numerous times, and he has a little booklet full of all the cards that he has, and he has teammates sign them. And It's just a really cool, really, really awesome story, really cool company. Obviously, I'm a big supporter of them. They released those Prime boxes. I jumped on immediately and tried to snag myself one. And Chris, I've recruited you into the ONIT fold as well. I know that you love the cards as well. Yeah, and you're not just Ohio State honk either. You collect a vast myriad of.
I do. I've got a small group of teams that I do collect, and there is. I think you and I are in the same fold. You and I growing up, we were, we didn't have all these tiers of sports cards. There weren't hot boxes or any of these crazy, paninis in a case and these one of a kind. It was just whatever Walmart had,
Yep.
And we grew up on Tops and Upper Deck, and Press Pass was our go-to for college athlete.
Press Pass was the go-to, bro.
But now we've got, you might get, in the day of social media, we go on TikTok or we go on Instagram and we see, card shows being more prevalent than ever, and they're everywhere. And you see, these social media studs that are in the industry, and they're going to the national, and they're getting these exclusive national packs and things like that, just things you wouldn't really ever get your hands on. And we're going to have Sheridan on here in a little bit, and we're going to talk, obviously, this is, what now, year 3, year 4 of ONIT Athlete.
Yeah.
So
yeah, well, how long has NIL been in play? Wasn't the COVID season the year after 2021?
It's 3 years now, yeah.
Oh, it's 2022, 22, 23, 24.
Yes.
No, you're right. Yeah. So,
but
no, 23. You're right.
Obviously, we've had a myriad of NIL rules changing, rulings as well, how that's gone and come and pass. But like I was saying, we grew up with just whatever we're at the beck and call of whatever Walmart had. But now we've got these ONIT cards. We've got college athletes. I mean, we're being a Buckeye podcast. ONIT's the only card distributor that's got Jeremiah Smith signing cards.
Well, that actually
true?
changed this year. That changed.
Did it change this year? Okay.
They were the only ones that had Jeremiah Smith last year. Panini's got him on deck for this year as well.
Now, is it the Panini NIL?
Huh?
Is that the Panini NIL cards?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. But with that said, they're the only ones that have Brandon Ennis. Well, no, I don't think that's true either. I mean, Lorenzo Styles Jr. for sure. They're the only ones that have Lorenzo Styles Jr. They're the only ones that are going to have Caden Curry. They're the only ones that are going to have Malik Hartford. They're the only ones that are going to have Tegra Shabola, right? So, if you want a Jeremiah Smith, maybe you can get it somewhere else. But yeah, they're, if you're wanting somebody who's maybe deeper on the guys that you're going to know, but maybe the nation doesn't know, this would be where you get it. And maybe the nation will know them too, right?
Well,
maybe Tegra Shabola's next year Orlando Pace. Who knows?
I'd love to hear that. I'll give you one other thing, better too. If you've been on the fence about dipping your toes in the ONIT Athlete water, they do have, they have single packs, they have boxes. The cool thing, and they also have team sets. They have a monthly set that you could sign up and subscribe to as well. And I think that's a very, very cool thing. It might have been, maybe a couple years back. I think the big thing was just like, those monthly subscription boxes. It doesn't matter what if you liked football or you had sports teams or you were like into anime or cooking or Japanese snacks. It seemed like everybody had a subscription box that would come, and that was definitely, prevalent before and a little bit during the COVID era as well. But, now if I could, just randomly go to the mailbox and be pleasantly surprised with a box of cards tailored to my team, that dream come true. I'm surprised nobody else does it. But ONIT, they do.
Yeah, man. The Timeless Collection is really cool. So you subscribe to it. Like you said, it's a monthly box. It doesn't just contain football. It contains men's basketball, women's basketball, wrestling, women's softball, men's baseball too. I mean, there's a bunch of sports that are all included in there. But the Timeless Collection does contain its own special cards as well. I know that there's like someone on in the ONIT Facebook group that I'm in just to talk about their Jeremiah Smith that's numbered like 5 out of 5 or whatever, right? And you can only get that in the timeless collection, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I know they had a little thing going on around Christmas where if you were a timeless collector, you could come to Plain City and get yourself a autograph card. Like you could meet Lorenzo Styles Jr. and Sonny Styles, and they would sign your ONIT card. There was a special ONIT card with both of them on it. You can go to eBay and see those. They're pretty expensive, but that's a really cool thing, right?
Absolutely.
I've seen and met Sheridan multiple times. I know that he was on the podcast. Was it last year? He's come on the show before, and he's always really gracious to do that. And it's really cool to see what he's doing, how he's doing it, and he's also giving back to the athlete, right? I think it's like 40% of the profits go back into the athlete, go back to the NIL fund. So you'll see these at the stadium. I believe that a lot of these athletes get like a kickback too, or if they put it on their Twitter or their X page or their Facebook page, a link to buy the cards, they'll get a percentage of it back, which is really cool, man. Which is really cool. You and I've been collecting cards for a long time, so it's cool to be able to crack open a box and see some of these Ohio State guys. Throughout history, Ohio State has released cards without the NIL, but not a lot, right? It's always been like a Kroger set here, a Kroger set there. There was that infamous 1992 team set. And that's infamous because Eddie George was a freshman, Orlando Pace was a freshman, Bobby Horny was a freshman, and it's just like all their and I think it was a good portion of the roster was in that set. You and I had the Wendy's set from 2001. I think it was Jim Trousse's first year coaching.
Yeah.
It was like you went to like Lids, the hat store, and they would give you like cut out of these cards. Matt Wilhelm, Cortland Bowler, Steve Belisari. But other than that, there's not a lot of examples of these cards. There's not a lot of examples of whole team sets, which ONIT provides us. So it's pretty cool.
No, absolutely. You brought it up as well. I was looking at the ONIT website as well. It says, hey, not only do we create a first class officially licensed NIL trading card, but 60% or more of the profits go directly back to the student athletes. So I mean, how can you argue with that? And like I said, you get a top tier card. We're gonna sit and look at some of these products here a little bit or here in a little bit, but they've got their finger on the pulse as well. And I mean, I'll say the same thing when Sheridan does hop on. It's everyone. You look at trends in any type of collector community. I think like really the big thing in the NFL now is like, hey, what's everyone like? They like the downtown cards. Well, this year they've got something that looks and resembles a downtown card, and it might even look sharper. Honestly, I saw a Caleb Downs one earlier today, and those are some damn sharp cards. Damn sharp.
Yeah, I can't. What they're called? Campus. Not the campus colors. City limits. The city limits.
Yeah, city limits. Yeah, and they're sharp.
Yeah, I think they're bringing those back. Those are like the case hits. They're great cards. They're super limited print run. But and they're obviously these guys are listening to your feedback. I know that Sheridan is very active in the Facebook groups and all that, and he listens to the feedback, and I think that's great. I think that's awesome. Last year they did a series of like they're like the elements like smoke, water, fire, and then they would have a limited run of like 6. I was lucky enough to grab a couple of those organically through the boxes, but it's really cool. And that was something that he got feedback on from fans and implemented. So I think that's really cool. And if you're also, again, if you're really, really into it, Ohio State fan, it's cool to look at some of these other team sets and see if there's any transfers that are floating about that you might want to grab. Like I noticed on the Tennessee team set, the Tennessee checklist, they have Andre Tarentine, who's been there for a couple of years now. He starts there. He's got an autograph card, right? Before the last 2 years, he's had a card in the ONIT set for the Tennessee Volunteers, but not a signature card. So now if you want an Andre Tarentine signature card, you have that ability. Oh, and look who's here.
Hey guys, how are you?
Howdy. Let's get you on there. There we go. One more.
We're squeezing you on. Hey Sheridan, how you doing, man?
Doing great, man. I'm out for a little walk in my community here, but Excited to talk about what we're doing at ONIT Athlete and the new set for
Yeah.
2025 rolled out.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. They're
guys?
beautiful. Great.
We were
Thanks.
just talking about it. We were talking about that product line. We were talking about how the Prime boxes released and they sold out. And I mean, record time. I would suppose is how else you say it. I mean, the Ohio State boxes. I mean, that seems to be the Ohio State fans seem to be great, right?
Yeah, amazing. Ohio State fans are super supportive, and they love their team no matter what. But coming off of a national championship, I still think there's a lot of excitement. Obviously, a lot of new faces on the roster this year that are going to be starting, but still a lot of excitement and high expectations for the team this year. And we hope that we just match that. Really exciting, and a lot of work went into the redesigns of the cards and the product for this year. So we hope we blow expectations out of the water.
Well, I'll be honest with you, Sheridan. You're already blowing the expectations out of water. Josh and I were just talking. We're talking about trends in the
Oh no.
I don't know.
Sure.
No, it's not your internet.
Chris, you were saying?
No, what I was saying was that definitely look and follow the trends in the card collecting community. I think arguably, we might be good here.
I can't tell if it's my internet.
No, you're fine.
Oh, okay. All right.
I think it's just him walking in dead zones or whatnot.
Oh, okay.
I think that's all that might be it.
Making sure. Well, as I was saying before, we're waiting for Sheridan to get back on. We're going to get some technical issues. That's no big deal. But if you are an Ohio State fan and you want other guys, Andre Turrentine, that we want to look out for, right? Cincinnati had a set last year. Was able to snag one of these bad boys.
Hey, Evan Pryor, nice.
There you go. There you go. See, so stuff to keep an eye on. I think Noah Potter was able to snag. Joe Royer didn't have an autograph card, but he was obviously with Cincy, right?
Right.
So that was one that you would obviously get.
Hey guys, sorry about that.
Oh no, you're fine.
No, you're good. You're good.
Hey, you're getting your step in. We fully support it. So no, you were saying keeping up with the trends in the sports community, the card collecting community. You guys have definitely kept your guys' finger on the pulse because I think arguably over the last year, probably one of the hottest, most sought out product in the football card collecting community has definitely been these downtowns, and now these new city limits you guys have out. Though you guys are absolutely killing it. I think I like those better than the downtowns, Sheridan.
We're pretty excited about the city limits cards.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it looks like the roster of signature athletes that you have is a lot bigger than years past as well. And the cool thing about the set itself and what you guys do too, you see Panini reach out to a lot of the larger stars, right? From maybe Julian Sane or Tavion St. Clair, 5-star guys that maybe everybody knows. But I like the fact that you guys went out. You got a guy like Quincy Porter, a 5-star wide receiver that maybe not a lot of people are talking about. Carter Lowe is a 5-star offensive tackle that a lot of people are hoping becomes like the next big thing on the offensive line. Jermaine Matthews, you don't see a lot of Jermaine Matthews out there. This is a guy that could be a potential first-round pick. And I think that that's really special. And that's really cool. If you're a hardcore Ohio State fan, you're going to know those guys. You're going to know Lorenzo Styles Jr. You're going to want to pair that.
Yep.
Could you walk us through the process on how you pick these guys and why you do that?
Yeah, for sure. And we want the, Julian and Tavian to be in the set. Those guys had exclusive deals with Panini, which we respect and understand. I think long-term we're working on something. I don't want to say anything yet because it hasn't been finalized, but we're trying to be a good partner in the trading card space and have good relationships with everybody from Topps, Panini, Leaf, Wildcard. So we're hoping that there's a pathway in the future. Obviously, couldn't get it done for this year, but hopefully in the future where those guys can at least have cards in our set. Even if they can't have signature cards, they still have a pathway, hopefully, to have a card in our set. But yeah, the approach we take when we try to fill out the signature list for our team sets is essentially this. Ideally for us, we want the starting quarterback. If there's a battle, then, first two quarterbacks on the roster. Starting running back, if it's going to be split, then we want the top two guys. Starting tight ends, starting wide receivers. We want a couple offensive linemen, at least one defensive lineman, at least one starting linebacker, and then top secondary guy. And then we look at underclassmen and we try to identify guys on the roster that we think will be superstars or rising stars. That's why you saw us have Jeremiah Smith as a signature athlete last year in the product. We identified him early on as somebody we thought was going to, be a major star. Not saying that other companies don't realize that as well, but as far as licensed product, he wasn't in any other set aside from ours last year. So that's kind of one of the things that we're going for when we signed the underclassmen is to have their first official signature card and take some chances on guys that we think have potential to be superstars. And we really pride ourselves on trying to identify those up and coming guys and picking the guys that we think are going to be big time players and probably go on to have big time NFL careers and working with them early on. So that's kind of the thought process, but we do think a lot also about, are there any guys on the roster that are local guys that have a unique story, maybe a family legacy, like Sonny and Lorenzo Styles, their father played on the team. I think potentially their grandfather also played. So just the family legacy there, that stuff matters to us as well. We take those things into consideration because we want the fans to, when they look at our product, we hope that they really think that we are coming at it from a fan's perspective, right? Not just how do we pick out the top 2 or 3 or 4 guys on the roster and put them into a national pack that's mixed. Bowman does a great job with that. Their product's great. Bowman Chrome, Bowman Best, they put out a really good product, and they get a lot of the top athletes all around the country to be part of it. But we feel like our product is different. We're really trying to build something that's special for the fans and try to understand the inside stories and the family stories and try to go after some of the guys on the roster that probably wouldn't have a card in other manufacturers' product. But we think they're certainly worthy to have cards and that they, would be sought after signature cards from the fan base.
Yeah, and it was funny you mentioned that. I was talking to Chris before the show about your product, and as soon as you guys released your first product, you and I met a couple times way back in the day when you guys were outside the shoe, not way back, 3 years ago or so.
Yeah.
And it's such a great product, and it's so cool. Me, I collect Ohio State guys exclusively for my PC, and I like the fact that when I open it up, I know that every single card I have that I open is going to be in the top loader. It's going to be some of that I want, some that I'm looking for. I love the fact, I go to Zanes. I live near Zanesville. I used to live in Zanesville. Julian Goins-Jackson is a walk-on offensive lineman, and he goes to these local card shops, and he's signing these cards for these kids, and they look up to him like he's a hero. And they get a piece of him. They get to see him, and he himself gets a photo of himself with his name on it, and he's collecting it, and it's just it's providing a lot for a lot of the guys that aren't superstars, and that's what I appreciate most. That's what I look for most.
Yeah, and I really love that you're saying that. Like I said, we like what Topps puts out. We like what Panini puts out. We're collectors ourselves. We buy their product as well. But we hope that one thing that makes our product special is it's really a product for the entire team. You know,
Yeah.
the other manufacturers, they rightfully so want to work with the top 4 or 5 guys on a team like Ohio State. But there's another 100+ guys on that roster that we think are worthy of having a trading card. They're part of the team. They're showing up to practice and busting their ass out there with everybody else. And we want to recognize all those athletes. Julian Goins-Jackson's a great example of that. Great kid. Worked his ass off to get to Ohio State to be on that roster.
Yeah.
He's an ultimate team guy. And for fans to be able to see his card and have his card and find him after practice or at events and have something like that for him to sign and kind of have a way to connect with the fans through our card, that's really special to us, and that means a lot. And I would say we think about all those guys on the roster. We wanted to be a trading card company for the athletes. Obviously we need the stars because a lot of people want to chase their cards and collect their cards, but I would say equally the bigger purpose, I would say, is really what about the other 100 guys on the roster, and who's thinking about those guys, who's making product for those guys, and who's trying to do it in a way that makes it fun to collect and make it exciting every year. So those guys are recognized, they're part of this, and they have something in our product that it's kind of fun to collect, and it's hopefully something that all those athletes and those families look back on in 10 or 15, 20 years from now when they're talking to their kids about when they were at Ohio State. They're like, yeah, I was on the roster. I was on that national championship team. And they go and look and see their dad's card on eBay. And, you know, they have to commemorate that, hey, I was part of this team. And right here, I got my trading card out there. I was part of this organization. So, yeah, what you said is spot on. We want to be the company that's for all the guys on the team. We love the superstars when they're part of it, and very appreciative and honored that they're willing to be part of our product. And it's we don't take that for granted at all. But we really, really want to represent the other 100 guys on the roster that are out there and grinding and a huge part of the team's success.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
You brought it up, perfectly with everything you said at the same time. Hey, all these players, they're going to be in the heat. They're going to be in the two-a-days. They're going to be in the grueling, training camp and this, that. There's not all of them are going to get a rookie card, but you've provided them that. You've provided that for their family and their kids and their grandkids, and it's an heirloom that just can't be, reproduced. And it's awesome.
Yep. And I hope that people see this too. And I hope people hold us accountable for this, but every year we're not just going to do a rinse and repeat, right? We're going to come up with new designs, new inserts, new parallels, new specialty cards, kind of take an innovative look every year. So people don't feel like, oh, you're just doing this to, you're just basically rinse and repeating the same thing. We're like, no, just like you said, these guys are out there grinding every day. They're busting their ass at practice. That motivates us and inspires my team to bust our ass at my company to, hey, let's put our heart and soul into what we're doing. Let's make this product even better. Every season, I want to get better and better. I want the fans to love our product more each year. I want to earn their trust and support. And that, that's something that we think a lot about from our perspective.
No, absolutely.
One other thing too, another cool part about if you're an Ohio State fan, because of the day and age of the transfer portal, you produce so many team sets, and your company produces.
Yep.
So many team sets. Chris, before the show, I recently purchased an Evan Pryor autograph off of eBay, and he's at Cincinnati, right? That's a former Ohio State running back. So you really get to touch a lot of things as a collector, as an Ohio State collector. I was going through the checklist of the teams, And Tennessee, you guys, one of your signature athletes for Tennessee is Andre Durantine, who
Mhm.
was a former Ohio State Buckeye. Well, that's cool. That's
Yeah.
cool that I'm obviously going to be hunting for now, not just the Ohio State stuff, but also him as well, which I think is awesome. I don't know if you guys pay attention to that.
Yeah, we do. We do.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we try to track where everybody was at before and if we had a card for them. And, we see it's really actually fascinating to see what happens. Like a guy like Joey Aguilar that was at App State last year, we made a card for him. He briefly transferred to UCLA, and then things shook out for him to be able to go to Tennessee and land that starting job. People are going crazy for his App State card now. Tennessee fans are, and you see that. It's actually really interesting that to follow things like that. When Caleb Downs was at Alabama, obviously all American freshman and outstanding athlete, and Nick Saban chose to retire, and that made some of those guys reevaluate where they wanted to be. And he's a guy that thought Ohio State was a great spot for him, and I think he made a great decision. But it's fun to see some of the Ohio State fans going back and buying our first card for him when he was a signature athlete at Alabama.
Yeah. And I guys had Seth McLaughlin on that set as well. I snagged both of those, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Seth McLaughlin, also another guy that came over. Yep.
Yeah.
So you talked about, this year, you're changing keeping it ever changing, keeping it new, keeping it fresh, not solely just inserts and parallels. From this point last year to now, I mean, how far has ONIT is now in the card collecting community? It's without question, not now, but without question, it's a household name. But the leap you've made from last year to this year, can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, we invested about $2.5 million more in some specialized equipment on the packaging side to help with collation. That was one issue we were having a little bit, is sometimes people were getting some of the same signature guys, in a prime box, or if they bought multiple boxes. Sometimes just the collation when we were doing it entirely by hand wasn't quite where it should have been. Although we had a process to get it there. If we got lackadaisical or didn't follow it, sometimes the cards didn't get mixed as well as they should have. So invested a lot in some specialized equipment that helps us expedite things, got some additional cutting precision equipment. I think we're doing a pretty good job cutting the cards, but we really went to a world-class space now in cutting. And we have a whole, so we did a lot, like you said, with the inserts, parallels, and the redesign of the base cards for our team set product. And then we have a whole nother series that's going to drop probably in early November called Gravity, which is a chromium product. The base cards will be all chromium. And that one has all different signature card designs and specialty card designs. So our team set, the thing that's cool about that is that it's basically encompasses the entire roster. Each university has a unique design, and that product has, in our opinion, great signature card designs and specialty cards. And like you said, our city limits are now part of that team set product. And then Gravity is kind of a more universal product where it's kind of a space-oriented design. Every team's design is consistent. So it's kind of a more universal product. I would say similar to how Bowman is designed, where all the, regardless of what university the athletes are on, the inserts, parallel, specialties all have a kind of a universal design. And that's a chromium based product. So our Gravity product will be that. So I think people will be very excited about that. It's kind of a limited edition set that we're doing for each school. And there's a couple guys that might be additional signers in that we had deals with. We just were working through some details with, Mylan Graham being one of them, which we're really excited about. We're really begged to get that deal done, to be honest, because I see Mylan being a big time player at Ohio State.
Oh, yeah.
In my opinion, he reminds me a lot of Emeka. I see, if he had 10 or 15 more pounds onto his frame, he's not afraid to go across the middle. He's fast. He has really good hands. I think in the spring game, he caught something like 7 passes for like 94 yards and a touchdown. So that's a guy I believe in big time. And so you could see him potentially drop into the Gravity set as a kind of specialty signer in that product, as a new signer. But yeah, what I would say is just the quality of the product, the designs. I think we continue to try to get better and better at enhancing our designs and making them even more spectacular than what we had the prior year. Some of the things that we've done is our blackout cards are super popular. So we did a limited series for like we traditionally foil the foiling part in like a silver or gold. I think we did the silver for Ohio State is the base, but then we did a scarlet red for a numbered series in the blackout. So we're trying to find ways to add value to the consumer for in some of the inserts and parallels that maybe we didn't have before. And then one thing that we did learn from last year is we had kind of our element series where we had the smoke, the fire, the rings, and the water. So there was 4 9 series and 4 1-of-1s. We went back to a true 1-of-1 and a true 9 series for our team set product.
Ooh.
Just so those really carry weight. If you hit the 1-of-1, you know that is a true 1-of-1 for the product. And I know that there's pros and cons to doing that. It's kind of more fun when you have more big hits for fans. And if you have product that's being opened by breakers, that makes it probably more exciting for them. But we just felt like really for what we want our company to be, we don't want to be known as a company that's pumping out tons of 1-of-1s that are meaningless. We want the 1-of-1 cards to be true, like truly unique, very, very special. And so we went back to a true 1-of-1 for our team set product, which we hope for the lucky fans that hit those cards that they
So before I know we're talking about the product, but I want to make sure I do ask one question in relation to NIL and the business side of it. You've obviously when the NIL thing came through, you jumped on it, you saw an opportunity, you grabbed it. And that's great. That's awesome. How has that developed over the years with you negotiating with these players and negotiating with their agents? Has it gotten harder? Has it gotten more organized? Are there bigger obstacles because now you're seeing these big companies like Panini jump in the mix, or like how has your experience been as a business owner trying to get these deals done in the NIL era?
I'll field this one. No.
Oh yeah, Chris. That's all right. That's all right. Sheridan's on the move.
No, it's good. Hey, Sheridan brought up, he's talking about future releases. Let's not sit and bat an eye out of what's currently out there on the market right now. We've got, like Josh said, these prime boxes dropped, and how many hours, Josh, when they were gone?
Dude, I'm pretty sure Sheridan, hopefully he can answer that question when he gets back. But that was, I'm pretty sure that they were gone in like an hour. They were gone in an hour and a half. I know that I had we did this podcast 2 weeks ago, and the prime boxes started to drop. LSU, South Carolina, Kansas State. Ohio State wasn't yet released. And I had my notifications on, and I almost missed it. So, and I think that Ohio State's actually the only one that's sold out. So it would also be interesting to hear Sheridan talk about why he thinks Ohio State sells out so fast. But yeah, man, it's an interesting product. It's an interesting space. He definitely saw something with it and he grabbed onto it. I know Sheridan is a Boise State fan. We've had on the show in the past. He talked about, I think he said his son's favorite player was George Iloka. If that sounds right. And that was kind of the inspiration for that. So there's some pretty unique Ashley Jeansies out there on eBay and stuff like that. So that kind of gives you a glimpse into what to expect for Ohio State and their set this year. But obviously, they do great work, right? You're staring at the sets right there and what kind of cards they look like, what the boxes look like, and the packaging's great. And, yeah, man, I'm excited. My biggest obstacle is trying to limit how much money I spend. So,
well, I mean, it's good that you brought that up. Like I said, Sheridan's talking about future product, but we're talking about these prime boxes. We're talking about these new inserts. We're talking about these city limits cards that that are in the same vein, if you would, as some other companies like their downtowns and things like that. But they look absolutely phenomenal. And now that I see Sheridan's back as well. I mean,
Yeah, sorry guys.
we can. No, you're fine. We're talking about you were talking about everything in the future that's coming, and
Yeah.
we're talking about just now. What you've got now is absolutely next level. But I'd love to touch on your the Timeless Collective. We were talking earlier that years back, it seemed like subscription boxes were the cool, great thing, but you've got a Timeless box for $30 a month to come in the mail. You're going to get a box. It's going to be
Yep.
your guys. You're going to get some cool Timeless card, some kind of rare, ultra rare, possibly a one of one. I mean, how great is that? What inspired that?
Yeah, what we we initially were trying to figure out what was our take going to be on like an instant card or a moments card. And we decided we really wanted to wrap it into, so two thoughts. How do we make an awesome product and have like a specialty card that goes out in the product? And then the second part of Timeless is really an experiential component where we can do athlete engagement events. It could be meet and greets, it could be signature events. It could be to win, like where we put golden tickets into the product and you win memorabilia. It could be signed or unsigned stuff like jerseys, hats, shirts, all different types of apparel stuff. It could be opportunities in the future to have, this is the same, actually kind of taking this one from Tops, but athletes following you back on social media. It could be stadium tours where the athletes are guiding you through their stadium or basketball arena or softball facilities. It could be spots into the athlete's summer camp where you're getting opportunities to win spots into their summer camp. So we have like 20 different ways to engage and through product, but also with the athletes directly built into that experience that we're rolling out. And the goal, we're kind of doing a relaunch of that drops in September, where Timeless going forward in September will have its own series. So you won't be getting the same cards that you get in the team set. It actually will have its own separate series that you're collecting. Oh, wow. And then there'll be an experiential component every month tied to that, to each team. So that's a huge part of it. We really wanted Timeless to be all about connecting the fans and the athletes in really cool ways, and then also incorporating a monthly product that you get, in your hands every month. And so that's the goal with it, and trying to do it at a price point where obviously not everybody can afford that, but we try to do it in a way that's as cost effective as possible. It also is a way for us to reward and pay the athletes more because there's so many experiences built in. Right. For athlete meet and greets, we did a really cool event several months back at a local shop outside of Columbus, at Hometown Huddle in Plain City, where Sonny and Lorenzo had a specialty limited edition signature card. It was a dual auto card that you could only get if you were a Timeless member. And we'll do special drop cards like that or signature cards and events like that through Timeless. And that was the intent with the Timeless product, is how do we come up with something that's really cool.
Well, I mean, if we're talking value alone, you can say that I can spend $30 a month and I could get that box card, even an annual fee of of $2.99 or $2.99. That's $60 off. That's another 2 boxes for free. Talk about a value, and the fact that now that these Timeless will have its own set, it'll be its own thing, its own card run. I mean, why not? It seems like you're playing with house's money on this one.
Yeah, and that event at Hometown Huddle was really cool. I didn't get to go myself, but I know some people that did go. And I mean, they got to meet Lorenzo Styles Jr. and Sonny Styles in person and get their card signed and see it get signed. And that's a really cool opportunity. That's everybody's dream, right? When you get that, when you rip open a pack and you see an autographed card, you kind of want to be there for that. And they provided that opportunity. no other company is doing that, right? So that's pretty cool.
No, and absolutely, we're talking about they're on an athlete, given at minimum up to 60% back to the athlete, and talking about being able to fund these things, funding these fundraisers and camps and stadium tours and things like that. Tell me someone else that does it like that.
Yeah, and it also should be noted too that as far as I know, all ONIT cards, all their autograph cards are actually on card. I know that
Yes.
there's a lot of people in the community, maybe not me, but a lot of people in the community that are sticklers for that, right? They prefer the on card look. And I mean, it does. It looks better without question. An on card autograph looks way better than the sticker. So everything ONIT produces is on card, which I think is just awesome. I think it does add an extra flavor to it. And they look great. I mean, Chris, you've seen the cards. I mean, even the base set. There's really not a lot to complain about aesthetically, right?
No, not at all. It's a great card. It's a great product. Everything that I've seen from them, I want to sleeve it, top load it, put it in my PC, and tuck it away. And it's we grew up searching and hoping that we had a Buckeye in a pack. If we had a Buckeye in the pack that made the week. But I can, like you said earlier, I can go in and look and say, hey, I got nothing but Buckeyes in here. And like I said, the fact that you could follow an athlete, you can follow their story. If they stay, they go, they do this, they become draft picks and Hall of Famers and what have you. I can say, hey, I've got this individual's, first card. And not even that, like we said earlier, like just players that get a chance, that players that get a card. And it's really baffling. I grew up, I'm like, well, you know what, if my status quo of making it is like, do I have my own parking spot? That was my thing. But if you could tell me that I could go and be on on a football card, I just cloud nine, man, cloud nine.
It's awesome. Yeah, no, I agree. It's really cool. I do have a Prime box coming in the mail. I think that we should make an episode where we break it on the show.
Absolutely.
Just to kind of see what's going on. I think you get 3 autographs in it. So that'll be fun. And then obviously
3 autographs.
Get a look at the team set. I would think that they're going to ship those babies out before any other card. So maybe I'll be one of the first to get it. We'll see. I'm not entirely sure.
Right.
That would be a better question for Sheridan. But yeah, man.
No, like I said, we talking about these Prime boxes. Buckeyes, they're sold out. You're guaranteed 3 autos, and we're talking your team. You're picking
very on the trading card scene.
Yeah, no, like you said earlier, when it comes to these Prime boxes, Ohio State being sold out, and you're talking about a price point that was $130. You can guarantee me 3 autos. Well, I mean that's the thing. You go in here, you look at these tops, and you look at Panini, and we're talking 3 autos, and you know what's in that box. You're willing to pay double.
Yeah, no, that's a great per autograph, and knowing that every card is something that you want. That's a fair price point. I'm saying that the fact that they at that price point that it sold out that quickly, like says a lot about Ohio State fans and the passion that they have, and the amount of fans that are within that hobby. Because again, even if it's everything you want, that is not a cheap pack of cards, right? So it shows the Ohio State fans they go to work, brother. They go to work. So
they go to work, and they went to work. But if you're interested in getting your hands on some of these ONIT cards, the 2025 set is out. It is available for purchase on ONITathlete.com. You can just go to the left sidebar there and search by school, search by sport. Like we said earlier, it isn't just football. We've got a plethora. We've got men's hockey. We've got wrestling. We got men's and women's basketball. We've got lacrosse. We've got a plethora of others. We've got softball. We've got baseball. I'm sure we've got something. We've got the soccer set as well, and women's basketball, volleyball. Look at that. Who else is doing it like on it? No one.
Absolutely no one.
Absolutely no one. Well, for the time we had. Sheridan, gracious to have you on. We greatly appreciate it. We love what you're doing. We absolutely are excited. I know Josh is probably just harassing his local mail carrier every day, waiting on his Prime box.
Yeah, for sure.
No, for sure. But again, ONIT Athlete, co-founder Sheridan Hodson, thank you for your time. We greatly appreciate it. We'll try to have him back on again, maybe a little bit more of a steady connection for y'all watching on your phones, laptops, TVs, where have you. But gracious to have
That's on me too. My internet's been spotty too. That's on me too. Just want to point that out there. I'm gonna work on
It's
that.
all right. I'm only in the Philippines.
That's true.
Each and every one of y'all jumping on, we greatly appreciate it. We appreciate the likes, appreciate the hearts, all the little emojis, all the comments on YouTube. We will be back this week. We are going to delve into our Big Ten fantasy football draft. We got to get it in because we know that the week 1 kickoff is right around the corner. It's creeping up on all of us, but I know Josh is also seething at the teeth, waiting for college football to start as well. And there's his internet. Just frozen on me. Oh, he's back.
I'm here, dude.
Okay.
I'm here, dude. I'm here.
Fantasy football, Big Ten draft. Yep.
Very excited. It's going to be 5 dudes, me, you, our boy Donovan, Brock Vieira, who most of you are familiar with, and Buckeye Steve is back in the game. So it'll be pretty interesting to see how this flows with the 3 heavy Buckeye honks, and then the IU representative and Donovan, and then Brock, who's out on the West Coast. He drafted his fair share of USC guys. So there's always a little bit of bias within these drafts. So that'll probably be the most interesting part. It is a best ball draft. So when you draft, you are stuck, brother. So when I drafted that quarterback from Maryland, and he ended up being the backup,
hey,
still won.
You still won it. It wasn't like you drafted the backup kicker for USC. But we will be back later this week. We're going to get in that fantasy football draft. We're going to talk a little bit of Buckeye news after that. We're going to talk about in 2 weeks, we're going to talk about Ohio State Buckeyes and the Texas Longhorns. It is right around the corner, my friend.
Yeah, next week, week 0.
Week 0. But for the Ohio State of Mind podcast, I'm Chris. You can find me at CRunny15 on X. Josh?
Yeah, follow me at Josh Keatley16. We answer any and all DMs, brother.
All of them. All of them. Was that brother for the late Hulk Hogan?
Dude, that one hurt. Okay? I was watching Bash at the Beach with my son that night. That one hurt, dude. Talk about.
I mean, I'd have to ask you to check in on your dad for me, but I'm sure you pick up the phone immediately.
Oh, dude, he was also very upset.
Oh,
dude, Hulk, that is a chunk of childhood gone, my friend. Gone.
Well, I'm not trying to bring down all the Hulkamaniacs in the chat, but we will be back later this week. Big Ten fantasy draft kickoff right around the corner. As always, thank you for joining. Thanks for jumping on. Thanks for the participation. And of course, go Bucks.